What is going on, everybody out there? Darren the Brony here to tell you how I became a Brony. And pretty much, I'm going to go back to 2011 for when I first kind of, in a way, discovered My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Now, it's not My Little Pony it's not like from 4chan like everyone else did it as a joke, and then people saw that on 4chan, and then they really liked it. But no, me, this was in 2011. There's a show on Cartoon Network called Mad TV, and of course it feels like Robot Chicken. That's what it felt like to me. And they take famous movies, TV shows, actors, in real life, and then, they make fun of them, pretty much, and like the movie and TV shows or whatever. But there's this particular episode in 2011 that came out in the month of October, don't know what day, but anyway, it was called Cowboys and Alien Force, and in there are, parody of My Little Pony characters. Now, of course, they actually had Applejack in there, and I'm like, it's like, I'm Applejack. We're trying to figure out who's, taking us as well, or whatever. It's pretty much how Applejack sound. I'm like, okay. But before that, it starts with him, waking up, not knowing what's going on, and somehow he has Ben 10's Omnitrix, and then later on, he's like, what's that glowing thing on your wrist? And he's like, what, this? No, that one. And he's like, I have no idea. He's like, is that a My Little Pony bracelet? And he's like, I sure hope not. And then I was like, My Little Pony? I was like, yeah, My Little Pony's so ridiculous. It's so dumb. Ridiculous. Lame. And then it's like, so I kept watching, and they were making fun of, more of the My Little Pony. And it was this cowboy and equestrians. And I'm like, equestrians? Like, what's that? Because I was like, let's see, how old was I? Like 16? I know I probably should have known what equestria or equestrians are. I guess horse riders or something. I don't know, or deals with horses or something. But I should have known what equestrians were. But it kept going on, and I was like, hey, that was a good episode. It was funny. And then they made fun of My Little Pony. Yeah, so ridiculous. Now, jump from that to 2012, January. This was on a Sunday, like I said, can't remember the day exactly, it was on a Sunday, but I forgot, the 16th or whatever, in January 2012, on a Sunday. This was, the episode that was airing was Lesson 0. This one where Twilight goes absolutely psychotic, or just psychopathic, or whatever, about not getting a friendship problem or finding one, and she just goes absolutely mad, bonkers, just like crazy. But before I get to that part, I was just looking I was just looking at Nickelodeon. I was watching SpongeBob, and it just ended, and I think something else I didn't like that was playing on Nickelodeon was coming on next, and I was like, I want to find something else. Went to Disney. I don't really care for any of this Disney stuff. So I went on to Cartoon Network, and I was like, well, I don't know anything. I forgot what it was, but I was like, nah, I don't want that either. So I was like, man, there is nothing good. There's nothing on that's good today, or whatever. And it's like, I find this thing called The Hub, and I see right next to it says My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and I'm like, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. And then I actually thought back to Mad TV made fun of that. Oh yeah, I was like, oh yeah, man, Mad TV made fun of the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Let me see how dumb this show really is. I clicked it, and and of course it starts off normal, and I was just sitting there going, okay. Oh, there's the theme song. It's pretty girly. It's kind of a girly theme song. Now I find it really catchy. But anyway, I was like, that's a girly theme song right there. Okay. And then it went into the episode, and as the show progressed, she was like, wait a minute, I never sent a friendship problem to Princess Celestia? And it's due today before sundown or just like midnight or whatever the time that she said. I'd have to go back and look at the episode. And I'm like, okay, she's acting all worried and just like, oh, for like absolute no reason. And okay. And as it kept going on and on, she's like, you got a friendship problem? She kept going back and forth like between her friends. You got a friendship problem? And then like she couldn't find one, and then she finally started getting into that crazy like mess. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not that dictionary word. Anyway, so she was just talking to her friends like, I need to find a friendship problem before sundown or something. And they're like, my whole life depends on it, or I'll be sent back to, like kindergarten, or because I'm going to be tardy. And then they're all just laughing at her, and then she just acts all irritated, going, I was like, the way she made her eye look, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I mean, that's how I feel when I'm frustrated. So yeah, she started getting frustrated and irritated with her friends because they wouldn't listen to her, and she just acted all like, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. And so she keeps going on trying to find a friendship problem, and she's like, clock is ticking, Twilight. Clock is ticking. And I'm like, you're acting crazy right now, man. You're acting kind of crazy. And let me see. And it's like, what is happening? So whenever she finally, it cuts to a scene where Apple Bloom, Sweetie Belle, and Scootaloo, they're like playing with a ball, and then out of nowhere, Twilight just explodes right out, like the ball explodes, and she pops up, and she's like, "Hi, girls." I'm like, oh, Twilight, why are you making that face? What are you doing? What is happening right now? And then she's like, "Oh, hi, Twilight." Apple Bloom was like, "Hi, Twilight, how are you doing?" "Great, just great." But she didn't do that laugh. But I was like, okay, all right. That's this episode's getting crazy. This episode's getting pretty darn crazy. And it kept going on, and it's just, it was good. And finally at the end, Princess Celestia was like, "Twilight Sparkle, get your butt." Oh God! Oh goodness! Oh God! Like, get your bahookus over here. You've got some splaining to do. And then her friends are like, "No, it was us. We thought she was being all ridiculous. We didn't know she was being for real about the friendship problem and getting a letter to you. But we're very sorry." And then Celestia's like, "Oh, I guess you all learned a lesson about friendship and listening to your friends." It's like, "Oh, yes, we did." It's like, good. Now banish. And then I know during when I was watching it, my brother came out of his room to go to the bathroom. So it was like kind of, I feel like, in the middle of the show. So I quickly flipped the channel to go back and forth between it. And luckily he stayed in the bathroom for until I finished the episode. And literally as soon as I finished the episode, I flipped it back to the regular channel. And then my brother came back out of the bathroom to go back into his room, and I was like, wow. And then my parents were coming out of the room, and I was like, wow. That was quite an episode, and I really would like to see more. Now, this was around the time where all the episodes were on YouTube, and I watched every single episode on YouTube, and up until pretty much, they were still airing or whatever, Yeah, whenever they were still airing. So whenever there would be a new episode out, I would wait like a few hours, a day, probably a few hours. And somebody would have already put it up on YouTube, and I'd be watching it. And I'd be like watching the new episode because, of course, you didn't want to tell your parents. Because if you told your parents, they would think you're weird. Let me put it that way. But ever since then, it all started with Mad TV and then making fun of My Little Pony, which piqued my interest when I saw the show on the Hub Network. And I thought back to Mad TV and be like, wait, I remember they made fun of this on Mad TV. Why don't I give this show a shot? And then I instantly loved it. Though there were some episodes that were kind of girlyish, but I still enjoyed them. But then there were some episodes where I'm like, oh, wow, that was hilarious. Like, that's funny. Like, whoa, that went pretty far. To me, that kind of went pretty far in a girls' show. If it was made for girls, but I was like, that went pretty far. Like, wow. That was funny. Especially the Pinkie Pie party of one. All the memes. Pinkamena Diane Pie. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. I think they said Pinkamena Diane Pie was before that. So, but then they still kind of confirmed it with that. Or either they saw that and then made that episode. Oh, what? Okay. Thank you guys for listening to my podcast of how I became a Brony. Thank you guys very well. Everyone, have a great day. I love you all. Bye-bye. And 3, 2, 1.